Welcome to Family Business. I'm Dr. Mary Wansley, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I've been in private practice 15 years. I help people with emotional eating and any other issue that they might struggle with. And this is my son, Dylan.
Hello, I'm Dylan Stueber. I am her son, and also I've been on my own journey with personal, battles such as addiction, a lot of addiction issues, just growing up with different vices, and I have, I'm still am in the process of not necessarily recovery, but rehabilitation of my mind and getting back to the proper dopamine responses from things that really do matter, and that's kind of my journey and a lot of things I've been working on. But yeah, we're here. We've done it
We're
again.
here, and we're going to talk about mental health and the importance of mental health.
Okay.
But let's take a minute and take a deep breath.
I love that.
Because that's
Let's do
good
a
for
deep
our
breath. I think
minds
that's a great
and our
idea.
mental health. Take a calming, deep breath in through your nose and fill your chest and lungs. Long exhale through your mouth. Release the breath. Let it go. Deep inhale through your nose. Fill your chest, your lungs, your abdomen. Long extended exhale through your mouth. Release the breath. Let it go. There's so much science behind breath work. It calms the brain down, and it's very important. When we're in a calm space, we make different decisions than we do when we're flooded or upset about something or activated, triggered.
That's very true. Yeah, because the amount of times that I've done something impulsively or just reactively, and I know I should have been taking a deep, and then you do that thing, and you can't really, you second guess yourself, and you're thinking like, if I just pause for a second, and which really is pausing. It's taking a deep breath, taking a moment to reset yourself, and allowing yourself kind of some solace in a place of just the craziness going around you. And it can happen any time of the day, any place. But if you take a deep breath and kind of reset, it's always been something that I wish I knew I could instill, but also know I can, and forever practicing it, I guess, as we all are. So
Breathing, meditating. You do a good job with your meditation practice.
Yeah, I think for myself, it comes down to mindfulness from my experience of what I can a lot more easily implement into my daily life is just being mindful, trying to be in the moment, being present in the present. Just taking a second and looking around and saying, this is life. I'm here. I'm right here right now, thinking. Thinking thoughts. What's the next thought? When you get to that, you're in the moment. And that's something that I think we get caught up in, from day to day. Like even today, I've worked out, I've been working and doing different things, and it's like you just get caught up in the moment so easily. You think you're in the moment, but really you're not present in the moment.
I had that experience in my body balance class this morning.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Okay, so I did spin, and I left early because I wanted to respond to a client, and I kept having these ideas come to me. I guess I had endorphins and dopamine, and I kept having these ideas, and these ideas just kept flowing to me.
Right.
And I stopped body balance several times to take notes and write the ideas down. Now, would the ideas have still been there had I finished my class?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know if they would have.
Yeah.
And I needed to capture them.
Yeah.
For a book I'm writing.
It's true.
I really did. I thought I needed to seize the moment and capture them. But it did disrupt my body balance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting because you're giving up something, which is like doing something physical that's really good for your mental health and physical health, but also like realizing that you need to seize the moment. You need to seize the thoughts in your mind, because thoughts can be fleeting. So I think I've had that many times where it's like, I wish I wrote that down. I wish that And sometimes it's good that you did it. I think it's impulsive to sometimes be like, this is information I need. This is necessary to how I want to, be able to, talk about things, especially with what we're doing with the podcast. And especially when you get an aha, it's like an aha moment. Would you say? Yeah. Like an aha, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
And I kept having one after the next, one after the next, one after the next.
Do you find that there's a relationship between like doing something that's positive and then also positive thoughts and new like affirmations or new ideas to go along with it? So like you're doing something good like working out, but then you have this, this light bulb flick on, or this new idea, or this new, you're going through this new network that you're creating in your mind. And it's, yeah.
I find that about 20 minutes into exercise, my brain turns on and I begin to have this flood of thoughts and ideas.
Right.
So I would have to say yes to that.
Yeah. Because there's people that like, it's kind of like I don't know if like people, I think it's more a young person thing, but it's shower thoughts. Do you know about that?
No.
You've ever heard of this? It's
shower thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people take showers so they can like unpack their day, and they'll sit. That's why some people take forever to be in the shower. They take 15, 20 minutes. It's because that's like what they're doing. It's they're like mentally going through their entire mind and everything that's been going on and unpacking and like, getting rid of stuff and trying to bring in new ideas and kind of like, reshuffle their mind into an organized, space where, all the entire day you really don't have time. So they take that time for themselves. It's kind of like a thing that I know friends who did that, and I've always been interested about it. I can't do it. I'm like, shower, be done, But sometimes you do have that kind of aha, like when you're just doing something that is self-serving, that is positive. I think it's very, very important to also, like you have to do both. Because I know people, they hop out of the shower real quick and they pull out their phone and write something down. Because you don't know if, the fonts can be fleeting. So, yeah. So you want to talk more about mental health?
I think mental health, and some people maybe are afraid to get help, or the stigma around mental health issues. I think it's really more profound than it needs to be. Mm-hmm. We deal with our physical health, we deal with our financial health, dealing with our spiritual health, our mental health. Really, really important to living a healthy, high-quality life. I believe one of the stigmas around it is maybe not so much a stigma, but I believe one of the problems with people getting help, particularly when it comes to an addiction, something that somebody feels bad about, is that it's rooted in shame.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so first, if you judge something and you judge it that it's bad, that brings on guilt.
Right.
Guilt brings on shame. Okay. So first it's judgment, that can lead to guilt, then that can lead to shame.
And then it's a cycle, right?
It's a cycle, and then shame's the root of all addiction. Yeah. Okay. Guilt is what I did is bad. Shame is who I am is bad or not okay.
Right.
And so if somebody feels like alone, addiction can make you feel all alone. I know when someone comes to me for eating problems, particularly when I do a consultation, they tell me things and then they respond with, I don't think I've ever told anyone this story. Now, part of that's the way I ask questions and the way I listen.
Right.
And it's easy to feel isolated and alone when you have problems. And it's sometimes hard to admit you have a problem and ask for help because we have this belief that means we're weak. But it's really strength. Asking for help is strength, not weakness. If we can flip that script.
Would you talk more about like the weakness and asking for help and kind of what it stems from?
So the weakness, asking for help.
In asking for help, like why do people feel weak?
That people have the belief they should be able to do it all themselves. Right. That they should be able to figure it out.
Yeah. And is it like, because I've always really thought about it being vulnerable, right? That's the vulnerability that comes up for me when I've ever had to ask for help. And it's like, it's hard to admit to yourself that you don't know what the hell you're doing. What's going on in your mind, how to get yourself out of this hole that you've dug or just in this place, this mental place. And it's like, I don't want someone to, to judge me, or to someone to sit there and like in the worst one would be, I think there's also a fear of for people is if I ask for help and I get rejected, or someone not actually or adequately, meeting that need of help, and which I've had friends where it's like you want to talk and you want to console them or confide in them, and you're like saying to yourself, well, this didn't really, I need to go talk to another person, and I think there's that kind of like when I just opened up to this person, and I think that people are scared because they have in the past, and they've kind of been shown from the world that it's better to hold things in because you don't have to deal with that vulnerability, and I think being vulnerable is the strength, and you reaffirm that strength the more that you are vulnerable, because you realize, well, it doesn't matter what people think, or finding a way that you can support that weakness, and you feel like, there's strength in this because someone else acknowledges your existence, acknowledges your problems, like something that you do super well, especially with me, is it's like I hear that. I hear you feel this way, and
Do I really say that to you? Do I really speak to you that way?
yeah, of course. Yeah, you say, I hear you. I hear that.
Okay.
I hear you
okay.
say that.
All right.
And it's what's it called again? I forget. It's the
Reflective listening,
reflective
validating,
listening.
acknowledging.
Yeah, would you mind maybe talking a little bit more about reflective listening?
Well, reflective listening is when you reflect back to the other person what they're saying, what you hear them saying.
Right.
Acknowledging and validating is validating the way they feel. Okay. I could see that feels difficult. I can only imagine that would feel difficult. Anybody would feel challenged in that situation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So all this requires listening. It requires deep listening. Yeah. When you call me, I can tell, and I may have mentioned this in the last podcast, I can tell the second I hear the tone of your voice whether there's something bothering you or going on. It's kind of like the old show of Name That Tune, and you'd get like 2 notes, and you'd have to say what the song is. I can tell if something's going on and something's bothering you. Just I could hint of it.
Do you notice that with clients as well? Where you can the clients you've been working with for a bit, you can tell what kind of space they're in, especially if they've been going through a lot?
Oh, sure. So when I get on with a client, I don't know what kind of week they've had.
Right, of course.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
And the first thing we're going to do is start talking about what went on during their week and what they want to talk about. And I take notes on the first things they have to say. The first words out of a client's mouth are not necessarily accurate, but it's what they're believing in their own mind. Mm-hmm. I continue to take notes as they download, and then I circle back to everything that a client tells me.
Right.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, but I also am really curious now about the belief that they're trying to give off. You said, like, when you start talking to them, they try to give me off this, they have this belief that everything's fine, but when it's really not.
More often than not, they have the belief that the sky is falling, and it's really not. They have the belief this went wrong and this went wrong. I can have an eating client tell me it was a terrible week, and out of 7 days, they had 2 incidences that didn't go well, and the rest of the time, their eating was great.
But those 2 days.
Those 2 days.
2 times, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a dark cloud.
And that overcasts on the entire week was, relatively very good compared to where they're coming from. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then I remind them, hey, you know what? Let's reflect on when you used to overeat and eat compulsively all day long, or binge eat.
Right.
And that helps put things into perspective.
I think that's a very interesting point, and I think a lot of people need perspective. Just when whatever it is, it's like, and also perspective helps especially with isolation. When you feel isolated, when you have an issue and you don't know who to talk to, it's like perspective. Like, you have to give yourself perspective. Well, you think, I mean, for myself, like when I was, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think about which one. Which addiction or whatever. But like when I was trying to quit nicotine,
okay,
and it's like, this
Good
sucks.
safe
This is,
addiction
yeah,
to
this is
talk
safe
about.
addiction. Yeah. Um,
More to come.
which addiction? There's so
Good
many things to be
safe
addicted to
addiction.
these days.
Yeah.
Just so many things that bring, that bring you a bit of like the vices. But I would say nicotine was hard, and it's like you see all your friends sitting around still, using nicotine, and I'm the only one that's trying to quit, and it's like I felt isolated. I felt like,
Really?
yeah, of course, because you go hang out with your friends, and it's like everyone else has nicotine. Everyone, like, all the temptations are there, the desire
Oh, I
is
can see
still
how you
there,
feel that way. Isolated.
right?
Okay.
And you feel like isolated, and then you put it in perspective, and you're like, my life will be so much better if I really go through with quitting this time. This time, you say, because this happens over and over and over again for so many people. And yeah, you feel like I'm on an island alone, and the sea is all these
Sure.
people sitting here, slurping up vape juice or putting zins in or whatever it is, and it's like, and it's been like that for a long time, and I still feel like that today. But now
You
I have
do?
the perspective, yeah. But I don't feel isolated in the same way. I
Do you
mean,
feel like you're
isolated.
missing out? Do you feel like
No,
you're
not at
okay?
all. No.
Do you feel like you're not a part of? Because that's kind of what.
No, because
drinking-
I'll just walk outside. If someone's gonna smoke a cigarette, like on my trip or something, and I walk or hang out with them, and while they smoke their nicotine, and they make their decision, I'll make the decision not to do that.
Talk a little bit about what led you to quit and how you did it.
That's very tough. Quitting nicotine was very hard because I kept lying to myself that I was addicted or not. Like I was, every single time I'd be like, I'm not addicted. I can quit anytime. Everyone says that. I still talk to people to this day, and they say that I can quit anytime. And it's like, to me, I was like, I didn't even know really that nicotine was addictive. Like, of course you do, but you don't realize the conscious choice that you're making in the past and how you're actually sitting there now. I want to quit. Well, this sucks, quitting. I mean, you feel like you just need that little bit of release, that little bit of, oh my God, just fulfillment, and in the most minuscule way possible. It's not even that fulfilling, but in that moment, it feels like I need this. And for me, I think the times when I'd wake up and use nicotine, like in the middle of the night, it was like still pretty much fast asleep, and I would just rip my nicotine, and then I'd put it back under my pillow, and I go back to sleep. It happened 4 or 5 nights, and I'm like, this can't be right. And then I started feeling anxious, and then I felt anxious even at night, and it was just like all these things, and I was like, this isn't how I should be living my life, filled with anxiety for something that is supposed to take away anxiety. And I mean, I could be alone in that, but I do think overall, most people that are using nicotine have tried to quit, want to quit, or tell themselves in their mind that they will quit eventually.
They will quit. They kick the can down the road.
Down the road.
I want it. I need it. I have to have it. I'll worry about it later. It won't really matter because I'm going to quit. And they justify.
Justify.
Continuing.
I mean, I justify it, for years. I mean, I told myself I could quit anytime, justifying it. And I got to the point.
How did you actually quit?
How did I quit? I don't even know. I think what it was like, I'm going to see, this is one that's like the nicotine pouches now everyone's using. I was telling myself I got to get off of like the vape juice part of it. So cuz it just felt like my lungs felt weak, and I was starting to get, do physical exercise like climbing and working out, and you just feel like you feel kind of winded, and you just don't really feel healthy. It doesn't feel healthy, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to switch to another alternative that still has nicotine, and then I'll kind of, taper down from there. And which of course a lot of people do. Like, I have friends that are, putting in a Zyn, and they're still ripping their vape, and it's like they're just completely jumbled. Like they completely have, they don't know what's right from left, and I find for myself when I was quitting, it was like, okay, I'm gonna quit that part. I'll still do nicotine. Then I started doing that, and then I think one day I was like, I gotta quit for the longevity of my life, even though nicotine pouches are, have been tested, and they're actually not inherently negative to your body because it's nicotine salts rather than. But I think that over time that's going to have effects on the gum, maybe even your flavor profile or your flavor, your ability to taste. And for me, I think what it was is just ending. I think I just ended, and I just didn't. It's expensive, and I just didn't go back. I don't really remember how I quit exactly, in the sense of like that feeling, because it's been years now, but it was like I just got to be done with this. And the tapering off did work. I got down to like 6 milligrams on Zyn pouches, and then was just doing Zyns and felt incredibly addicted to it. And yeah, I quit.
So it sounds like the recognition of the power that the addiction had over you, and facing the reality of what it was doing to you, the negative implications. And I do remember when you would trick me into stopping at a 7-Eleven
right.
to get...
Hey, I need to get a Gatorade. comes out with a receipt for $50, cause.
And then once you begged me to go in and buy something for you, and I think you had to be a certain age and you needed it. Yeah, and I wouldn't do it, and then you became so anxious, and so I finally just said, "Okay, all right."
Yeah, this is
sure.
What it's like. Yeah.
You know, I was a cigarette smoker.
Oh yeah.
I smoked for 15 years. It was very difficult to quit.
When did you
difficult.
start? When did you start smoking cigarettes?
I started smoking at the age of 15, and where I went to high school, we had a place that you could go and smoke cigarettes.
In high school?
Yes, in a high school. We had...
What do you... It was legal to buy at 16, 15?
Cigarettes?
Yeah.
I used to smoke cigarettes with my mother and daddy. We would stand at the kitchen island, and there was a suction going down through the stove, and Mother and Daddy and I would stand and smoke cigarettes. Now, Caroline, my sister, never smoked cigarettes, but Mother and Daddy and I would stand and smoke a cigarette.
Family bonding, that's great.
Family bonding, yeah. Yes. Family smoking together. And I remember...
Family that smokes together stays together.
In 1983, I realized it's so bad for you. I begged my father to quit, and he quit.
Really?
He did quit.
Really?
Okay, I got shamed into quitting. I tried to quit so many times. I was 30 years old. I had a boyfriend, and he did not like it that I smoked. Now, I'd tried to quit before. I would even take cartons of cigarettes, and I would fill them full of water and throw them away, and then I'd still go buy cigarettes the next day. I tried so many times. Now, hypnotherapy helped me quit smoking. But he shamed me so badly. What I would have to do if I wanted to smoke a cigarette is I'd smoke the cigarette. Then I would have to change my clothes and put my clothes in the washer and wash those. And I'd have to take a shower and wash my hair, or he would smell cigarette smoke on me. Brush my teeth. I had to go through this whole ritual just to be able to smoke, because he was so turned off to smoke, and he didn't
want to be around it.
Didn't want to be around it, and I don't know. I might have been addicted to him, but so I finally just said, this is just not worth it. And then I went to hypnotherapy one last time. I'd gone before and had some short periods of success with stopping.
Really?
And I went one more time, and that was it.
That's really interesting. I didn't know about the using hypnotherapy for your quitting addiction, or quitting your nicotine addiction.
Absolutely.
What was your first exposure to hypnosis?
I first went to stop smoking.
Really? Mm-hmm. And why did you? What was the reason that you found it, looked it up? What was the attraction?
I wanted to stop smoking. This was in probably about 1988 or 89.
Okay.
And I found this man in Denver who did hypnosis, and I went to him.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And he would give me these tapes, these recordings to listen to. And I'd quit for a while, and then I'd go back to smoking. Now, looking back, I can see that the messages were already there. Mm-hmm. Subconscious messages build.
Right.
And those were positive ones that my mind really wanted. It's like hydrating your subconscious mind when you do hypnosis, because you're being very intentional about what you're putting into your mind. And then I quit. And I knew that hypnosis would be really helpful when I developed the program, the Mind-Body Reset Method. So, because when I went for cigarettes, I said, put some suggestions in there for weight loss. And he would put suggestions in there for changing my relationship with food and eating.
Interesting.
So I knew that had to be an important component of a program to help people.
Wow.
And it can help with just general counseling too. Because if you think about it, when you get counseling, you go in, you talk about what you want to talk about, and then to be able to leave in a calm state with new messaging, with something that creates a shift, an emotional shift, and a new awareness, and leaving feeling calm, peaceful,
Right.
tranquil. I think it really completes a counseling session very nicely.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're kind of able to reflect to the subconscious everything that they've been consciously thinking about, and also kind of like you're just reiterating it, and I think it's very powerful. I think it's a great. It's a. I think it's not utilized enough, and I think, especially with like when I was seeing a therapist last year, um, like it's kind of like the cherry on top, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a way where it's like, yeah, you got kind of to the important stuff, um, and throughout the session, but it's like, how can I kind of bring the session to close where you really make them feel good, make them feel uplifted, like, yeah, you kind of get that release when you feel like you kind of got everything off my chest, off my docket, but with the hypnosis to add on top, it's like I'm fully committed to changing my life. And now I'm going to do something that is, because you're doing it to help them in such a profound way that it taps into their subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sending signals, and that's creating new neural pathways that are allowing your brain to say, hey, I'm going to identify with this new type of person. And actually, now I say that, it's as somebody who's willing to keep making changes. The more willing and the more you identify the type of person you are, the more that you can see yourself living a different life. And going back to me quitting is actually, I can't believe I just couldn't think about this. But when I quit smoking marijuana, I realized pretty quickly about the identity that I created around myself and marijuana. And I had not realized that the identity was everything for me as being a pot smoker. Everything was part of the identity. Like,
So did you find that the smoking pot to give you a more positive sense of self? You liked the identity
well,
of
at the
being...
start it was like, this is fun. Like, I can get high and I don't have to worry about any of my issues or, what else. And I was very like into this idea of like just completely like, girl breaks your heart or something happens and you're like, I'm just gonna smoke and I'll forget about them. And sure enough, it kind of works. But you always, you kind of repress the emotions and you kind of push them down, and you feel after a while it's like I'm holding a lot of things underneath, and I'm kind of masking using this weed. And yeah, I mean, life can go on like this, but I'm not gonna achieve being anything like happy or content with my life if I keep, acting like these things that I'm dealing with, or these things I have been dealing with, didn't exist, which is just not true. And it's I think it was just negative sense of self. I mean, my use of it was like copious amounts all day, every day, or not all day, but every day smoking, and just trying to kind of zone out from life and have an easy way.
I don't know how you hid that so well. That
Yeah.
is just baffling to me.
Yeah, it's true. And but like, and get back to it, it's like, back to the identity thing. For me, it was all about identity. My identity was someone who smoked weed. Like, all my friends knew, like, that's Dylan. He like always has weed on him. He always wants to smoke.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
You always had weed on you?
Always.
You're kidding.
Every trip we've ever been on before,
Really?
years ago, yeah.
How did you smoke it without me knowing?
It's because I was good about it, and then at home with my dad, I got very sloppy, very sloppy.
You did. I'd get
Yeah.
these photos of all of your marijuana paraphernalia. And then the next photo, and then your dad, I guess he had a chest upstairs where he kept it all locked up.
Yeah. But going back to the identity, I realized that that was my identity. And so I changed when I quit, I kind of changed my identity because there's other stuff going on then. And my identity changed into like a outdoor person, a climber.
Okay.
Skier. Yes. And like kind of getting back to what I really like enjoy doing and things that brought me joy. And which is climbing and working hard. I really started working hard and getting my body very fit and very, achieve my goals. I set out goals, and I was like, this is the kind of person I am. And And I was like, I'm somebody who doesn't smoke weed. That's just not my identity. That's not how I see myself anymore. So then, this is years later, I went to try to quit nicotine. And what was it, 2024? 2024, I tried to quit, yeah, in July. I tried to quit. I quit all nicotine and then whatever. And then I went to Zins. And when I quit nicotine, I was just like, I kept seeing my friends, and it was like, this is part of their identity. This is part of who they are. Is there someone that smokes nicotine, that spends money every month buying something that they don't even really like that much, and that's not who I see myself as going forward. And it's identity. It's completely like your identity is everything. How you see yourself, how you approach life, and the perception that you have on how I live my daily life and who I am is all based in, it's rooted in these things.
So having a positive vision of yourself as young man who's free of smoking weed,
free of the vices and the things that are holding me down or holding me back, or not allowing me to fully feel and be the person that I want going forward in the future. And
I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, and but it was a personal struggle. It's not easy to just quit. You have to realize, and this is the one that I really love, is the pain of the pain of staying the same is worse, or the pain of changing is the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of changing.
The pain of staying the same is the pain. You're right, and that's what gets somebody to change. That motivates change.
Right. Motivates, yeah, but I guess motivates, but it's not a motivation thing. Like, if it was a motivation thing, there would be no one addicted to nicotine besides people who just like smoking nicotine. Especially younger people, they know it's addictive. They grew up with seeing older, whatever family members and smoking and seeing them addicted. Like that's why I told myself I'll never smoke. It's like going back into identity. I remember seeing my cousins smoking cigarettes, and I was like, this is something I never want to be. I never want to be like this. Someone has to walk outside every 30 minutes to just get some like frivolous release.
I'm really curious about something.
Wait, let me finish, okay. And then you can ask.
All right.
So get some frivolous release, and I'm like, I never want to be that person. So I told myself I'll never smoke a cigarette. Well, vapes came along. Didn't see vapes coming out of left field, and and so it kind of was acceptable. Like I was like, oh, it's just a vape. It started off with no nicotine, and then it gets it's part of who you are, part of the culture, part of what's going on. At least for my my class, my school, and high school, and even when I went to college, everyone's doing it, and it's just like, and also it was legal for me to purchase nicotine at 18.
Back to marijuana.
So, yeah.
How were you able to travel and get on airplanes with marijuana?
Oh, that's not something I talk about, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can get it wherever you go anyways. In most places you can get it around the country.
Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's off limits.
But it's about identity. I'm not gonna
tell
people how to do that.
Okay.
They can figure it out themselves.
All right. That's true. You don't want to tell people how to do that.
Yeah. But it comes down to identity.
I can remember bonding, smoking cigarettes.
Yes, that's
my
what
mother and I would have a Virginia Slim cigarette, and we'd smoke together. Yeah, let's have a cigarette.
And you end up having a conversation you probably wouldn't have had without it.
And the thing about you breathing something in, when you breathe something in,
right,
and you exhale, you relax. Yeah. So we do breath work.
But also like I was talking to my friend, and he has like this. It's like a thing where you like suck in air. It has like a little bit of a taste, not really, and it's supposed to like deal with like the mouth hit, because when you breathe in smoke, there's like a mouth hit, and people get addicted to that mouth hit. Ooh. It's not just the nicotine, but it's like the smoke going down your mouth and into your lungs, like and it's like people are watching this, they know like it's the mouth hit is huge, and it's very addicting, and it's great. It's a huge part of doing it, and
Sure.
Yeah.
To segue back to mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Getting counseling, asking for help, being vulnerable, recognizing that there's strength in vulnerability, and letting go of the stigma, letting go of judging it. When you told me last summer, you said you recognized you had some relationship patterns that you wanted to break and you'd put yourself in therapy. And I thought to myself, wow. Now, you were exposed to therapy at a young age. There were even some times when we would.
I'm not